I really am looking forward to this role. It's a great privilege to be called to it. Inevitably, we're in a rather peculiar set of circumstances where I might otherwise be racing around, meeting people, getting stuck into visiting churches and communities. A lot of that may not be as possible as I might like, and we all know the limitations of video conferencing. It's a great blessing, but it's not the same as seeing people face to face. Nonetheless, what I want to be able to do, and I'm looking forward to doing, is just meeting people, new people, particularly perhaps folk who we can make good partnerships with in this time of change and uncertainty, and getting to know people within the life of the church, but also beyond the life of the church. How can we work together for the good of the communities we're serving in? I first sensed a prompting to ordination in my 17 or 18, I think. It's hard to identify often the kind of significant milestones in that calling, but it was just something that was a growing sense of where God wanted me to be, and I did explore that. I went off to university. I didn't do theology or anything like that. I read English, but the sense that God was calling me into something like ordination was persistent and continued and grew, and so I then went forward for selection and so on, and started my life as an ordained person in Twickenham. In the Church Times there was the advert enticing me to apply as team rector of Leek, where I was for 13 years, and that was a tremendous time. And it's a part of the country that I have really come to love. I've never lived anywhere as long as I've lived here consecutively, 20 years in this part of the world, and of course it's a place of great beauty, some wonderful countryside, perhaps not as well known as it ought to be, but we like to keep these special things secret around here so that we can enjoy them for ourselves. And also there is the vibrant cities and towns that have a proud history of producing some wonderful things. But I think what I'd say most of all that's kept me here and attracted me to this part of the world is the people. There's a great warmth and a huge sense of community. People are straightforward and straight talking around here, but I appreciate that. And I have also appreciated the enormous friendship that I've received. I think having been Archdeacon in this part of the world has some obvious advantages. There's quite a lot that I know, and I don't need, in a sense, to get up to speed with some of the things. Of course, I don't doubt there's a huge amount for me still to learn. I'm quite clear about that. 7 years is not that long. But inevitably, in a time of great change and transition, it's perhaps not a bad thing to have someone who can, to a certain extent, hit the ground running in terms of knowledge of the area. There are enormous challenges and opportunities around at the moment. It is a bit of a commonplace to say that the coronavirus pandemic has magnified or accelerated some of those challenges, but it is nonetheless true. And some of those challenges face the church. That will lead to change. We need to find ways of ministry and mission that are sustainable and fruitful, and bear true and good witness to the good news of Jesus Christ. So that's going to be challenging, and to be a bishop in a time of such change will also bring its challenges to me personally. The really challenging thing for us as the church is how do we more effectively and powerfully bear witness to Jesus Christ in the culture in which we're set. And as a church, we don't exist for our own sake or benefit. We are agents of God's kingdom. Jesus says that as the Father sent me, I sent you, and we're sent out into the world, and so that the world may believe. So that's a big challenge, to share the gospel in a way that really it can be heard and received. I think also we're conscious that we live in a world where there's tremendous inequality, there's uncertainty, there's fear, and we have a message of hope that's based on what God has done for us in Jesus. And that hope seems to be one that we can share humbly with others.